power is back on. Well, for us in Spartanburg, South Carolina today, but still there's so many without power, without water, without that and more. I'm Mary Gwyn, and this is PX Multifamily, the Multifamily People Experience podcast. I just want to share with you, I was on a property transition in Spartanburg, South Carolina, a couple of days before Hurricane Helene hit. And we were staying in a Marriott for a couple of days. We were walking vacants, meeting with vendors, doing all those things, getting systems in place, something I don't get to do very often. Thursday night, we didn't know what would happen the next day. There were power trucks lined up everywhere. It's almost as scary as seeing Jim Cantori in your area used to be when he was with the Weather Channel. You just know something bad is about to happen. The National Weather Service told us to stay put. So the next morning, as things were windy and rainy and all that, we stayed and camped out in our hotel with the lights flickering and then finally going out. So there was incredible wind and rain. We watched it from inside the hotel lobby where they had emergency power, which was kind of cool. So you saw everybody kind of huddled over laptops and hotspots till the power went off. When we were able to get out and go to the property, we were amazed at the devastation. Roads were closed by downed trees, and people were standing outside their homes with trees on the roofs. So much water, so many tree limbs just everywhere. When we arrived at the property, Scott, one of our heroic team members, had already arrived with a chainsaw. He was freeing residents' cars and cutting up trees and moving debris so that people could at least get outside. For us, the worst devastation was a tree went through a roof, and our wonderful maintenance supervisor found a great vendor who came out the next day after that Friday impact. He removed the tree the very next day and tarped that roof up for us so that the residents underneath wouldn't get hit with the next rain, which was coming through just a day or two later. That was the worst of it for us. And today, the power's back on. A few of our apartment homes across the state flooded a little bit in different areas, and there was a tree down here and there. But reading about the devastation in other parts of the state and the surrounding states, but a lot in Western North Carolina, made it feel so many things. You know, there is the gratitude that our family and staff are safe, but there's sorrow for so many who lost family and friends, and there's concern for those who didn't have water or power or the ability to get to safer places. We felt powerless to do anything but pray. Although I do know, and I'm always reminded, prayer is absolutely our most powerful option, our most powerful tool. My husband and business partner, Tom Gwyn, who many of you know, he was so touched by what we saw and asked about working with the local apartment association to help those in devastated areas. So he reached out to Ben Brockschmidt, who's the director of the Piedmont Triad Apartment Association, and found that different association executives had already collaborated with John Louder, the Apartment Association of North Carolina executive director, as well as Joy Davis, the Upper State Apartment Association executive director. We've been on so many regular calls with other industry leaders, and it's really heartening to know that the apartment associations are collaborating and they're in it for the long haul, because it is going to be a long haul. On the most recent call, I want to tell you about a couple of the inspiring stories we heard. Well, of course, there were 40 trillion gallons of water that fell, and they wiped out some apartment communities. Many are condemned, actually, in the western part of the state, in Asheville and those areas. So it's so amazing to hear the collaboration and the fact that many apartment communities are posting their units on a website that the Apartment Association of North Carolina put together, so that there are resources where people can go and relocate. One manager was telling about, and I believe she's the president of the Apartment Association of Western North Carolina, she was sharing about getting her first shower in 7 days. And once the power and water were reconnected at her apartment community, she offered it up to other apartment communities to use a model apartment for showers for their staff and for their residents who still didn't have water and power. A shower becomes a very big deal when you haven't had one in a while. And one of our residents was a Katrina survivor, and she helped other residents that maybe their situation wasn't as bad as the western part of the state, but they were fearful, and she kept helping them by telling her encouraging story. I have a wonderful friend who lives in Brevard, and she happened to have been with her pet rescue location when it hit. So she was able to be there for her pets, even though so many trees were down. She had to chainsaw her way to get back home. And I have a wonderful industry friend in Augusta who is still without power 10 days in, but he does have his water back. And it's potable, however you say that. And no power still 10 days later, but he sounds so positive, so resilient, and he's more worried about his pets, but says he and his wife are used to camping anyway. So many stories, and so tough for us who are unable to get there and do something, because our industry, we hire problem solvers. All of us are problem solvers, and we want to help, and our industry always does come through. I want to offer here right now, if you don't know what to do and want something to do, are you like Tom, you want to do something to help, but you feel a bit powerless at this point. And it is going to be a long recovery, so there will be opportunities for hands-on help later. But for now, you don't know what to do and you want to help. I can share a couple of links. Here are the links. So are you ready to either write it down or type it? Here's one. It's multifamilymedianetwork.com/Hurricane-Helene. That's multifamilymedianetwork.com/Hurricane-Helene. It has helpful links to everything from a place to register available apartment homes to apartment associations that you can do other actions. And then here's a great resource at this link, aanconline.org. That's the Apartment Association of North Carolina. It's aanconline.org. And it has tons of information and helpful resources for what to do or how to help in this crisis. It's so great to be part of an industry that always comes through for others. Well, thank you for joining me, Mary Gwyn, for PX Multifamily's People Experience podcast. And remember, we're part of the Multifamily Media Network, which has other resources, other podcasters, other things to help you grow in your career. Please like, share, comment, follow, and even better, take action on behalf of those hit by Hurricane Helene at multifamilymedianetwork.com/Hurricane-Helene. Thank you again for joining.